All right, so we're going to transition into questions 8 and 9. 8 says the following distribution is not a probability distribution because in order for your distribution to be a probability distribution, the probability of all events of X must add up to 1. Remember, the sum of all probabilities in a sample space for all single outcomes equals to 1. So let's add up the probabilities and see what we get. So that's going to be 0.10 plus 0.24 plus 0.41 plus 0.15 plus 0.28. And when I add up the probabilities, I get 1.18. Because the sum does not equal to 1, that is the reason why this is not a probability distribution. The sum of the probability, I'm going to write it out, by the way. For all events does not equal to 1. All right, let's close that. And let's move on to number 9. Number 9 says, state the reason why the following frequency distribution is incorrectly constructed. Okay, so there's usually 3 errors. Sometimes you can have more than one error in a frequency distribution. Either the class width isn't uniformed, a class has been omitted, or the class limits overlap. Now remember, these are class limits. Class limits cannot overlap. The boundaries overlap to keep everything flowing continuous, which is used for continuous data, but when it comes to a class limit, they cannot overlap. In this case, I don't see an overlap in the class limits. Like, for example, the first class ends at 53, but then it starts at 54, ends at 59, then the third class starts at 60, so on and so forth. Therefore, the class limits do not overlap. Now, I'm going to look at the width, and I'm looking at the distance between each class limits. The class limits of the first class and the second class. Now I'm going to zoom in. If I look here, the distance between the lower limit of my first class and the lower limit of my second class, that is 6 units. 48 plus 6 is 54. Or you can subtract 48 from 54 and still get 6. If you add 6 again, that gives you 60. So we established so far the width of my frequency distribution is going to be 6. If you add 6 again to 60, you get 66. So far, so good. But if you add 6 to 66, you're supposed to have 72. The difference, the distance between the lower limit of my fourth class and the lower limit of my fifth class is 7 units. That means the class width is not uniformed. Class width is not uniformed. That is the answer to number 9, as I just stated right here. And the same thing applies for the upper limits, where it starts off increasing by 6. But then right here, it increases by 7. Once again, that is still an issue. The class width is not uniform. All right, guys, that is it to number 8 and number 9. Hope you guys understood the process behind the video, understood the method to my madness. I will see you guys soon. Take care.